That spin, man. Go live. What? Oh, man. Oh, I know what it's doing. It had a connection to one of the channels for Lisa, and it's not liking that. It's trying to cancel it. Ah, for fuck's sake, go away. Okay. Okay. Well, we were live the whole time I was doing that. Hello, Kenny.
What's
Hello,
going
everyone.
on?
That's What's going on? Not my whole day was Kenny Mercer, aka Duece Bug, prepping for your show.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I'm so excited we were able to get a time and get you back on the schedule. We were, as you know, we were going to start our month with you, and we didn't get a chance to. So it's really nice to end our month with you. That's awesome. So real quick, before we jump into the interview portion of today, just give everyone a quick hello and tell us how Kenny is doing today.
Hello. Kenny's doing well. I'm always constantly running around doing a million things, but I'm glad I got home in time and was able to talk to you. But I'm doing really well. I'm very busy with everything, but that's just the way I like it. So it's all good.
I can totally relate to that. So I like keeping busy, idle hands thing, I'm not so good with that. Okay, so the first portion of today's show is called Spitlights. It's a version of spitballing. It's just a quick, cute little way to get us warmed up and get you in the flow of answering some questions without getting too serious too soon. So the first one is important. Boots or sneakers?
You said boobs?
Well, that would be too easy. I wouldn't even ask a guy this question. He would probably say boobs.
I'm sorry. Like I told you, it's a little low, so I'm like kind of straining to hear you.
That's so weird. Like, I don't know what the volume thing is. Are you sure your volume's turned up all the way?
Yeah, I'm positive. I'll double check again, but yes, it is.
Because, if you use iPhone, my iPhone has a mind of its own. It'll turn me all the way down. I'm like, no, I want ears are going to bleed volume. Okay, yeah. iPhone.
No, I have a Droid, but it's all right. We'll make it work. It's cool.
Okay. I'll put my microphone closer to me.
There you go.
I'm like, wait, okay, there we go. Boots or sneakers is the question.
Well, as far as my apparel goes, I would go with sneakers, but I got to go with boots because I used to work at a venue called Two Boots, and it's one of my favorite places of all time.
Oh, so, that's a neat name for a venue, Two Boots.
Yes, it was a pizza place, and the pizza was a fusion between Italian and Cajun. So Italy and Louisiana are both boot shaped, so it's called Two Boots.
Does this
and it was a live music venue. We brought like a ton of awesome music through there the years that I worked there.
Do they still exist?
No, they went out of business.
This is unfortunate. You tell me, I feel like I just got Indian gift. You're like telling me there's this pizza place that has Italian and because I grew up in Louisiana Vienna.
To be fair, I believe there's still a few locations with just the pizza that exist in this world, but this
Whoa.
particular one in Bridgeport, Connecticut, was the only one with live music, and they
Oh,
unfortunately
okay.
had to close their doors. But yeah,
Wow.
but look it up.
Cajun,
It's
Cajun
Fubu. It's
and
online.
Italian. That's a crazy excellent combination for pizza. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to tell one of my guy friends is an Italian and he lives in England, but pizza's life, according to him. And I'm gonna have to tell him that because that's I'm gonna have to make my own Cajun Italian pizza now. Okay, the next question is hoodies or
Hold on
jacket?
one second, because now you sound like a robot. Your whole mic got
Uh-oh.
weird. I can't hear
Oh
you at all
no.
now.
Oh my god. What the heck? Everything's
I'm sorry.
I'm like, no, I'm like, I hope that's my audio. Let me check my audio. It says it's on. Got my I can change to the other microphone and I can see if that uh does this sound any different?
No, it's still sounding
It's
very
probably
robotic. And
yeah.
it just started out of nowhere. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Oh,
I'm
I,
checking the audio thing and it says if I'm having issues, try restarting.
what about this audio? Does this audio sound any better? Probably not. He's like, no. My my internet was going in and out. My mic says it's coming through and I do this so funny. When I do my live streaming art streams, I literally will go like check my feed on the other end of the world and be like, how's the feed sound? So we do have people watching. For those of you that are watching, leave a comment or a question, and if I don't know it. I got nothing telling me there's anything going on, and I'm like, no, please. Let me find us. Here we are. I got nothing telling me there's anything going on, and I'm like, no, please. Okay, so hopefully you can at least make out the questions because
We're better now. It's better.
we sound fine on the internet.
No, you're back. You're back. We're
I'm
good
back.
now.
Do I
Yes.
sound okay?
Yes.
Because even if I'm having like a Wi-Fi issue, I did have to reboot our router today. The Wi-Fi was just crazy here at the house, and everything's green light right now. It's crazy. So, hoodie or jacket?
Hoodie.
Hoodie. He's all
Yeah.
that was quick. Like not even gonna mess around with that. That's nice. Woo! So do you have, I don't know why I want to ask this, but I do, but do you have any kind of a battle jacket type of thing that you put patches on or anything like that? Do you do that? Some musicians do that, don't they?
No, I come from the punk scene, but I've never had a punk jacket. No.
Okay. That's cool. You don't need to. Okay. Peanut butter, creamy or chunky?
It depends. On a PB&J, I'm going chunky.
Ooh,
If
okay.
I'm spreading peanut butter on like a piece of celery or a saltine, smooth.
I am the exact opposite of that.
Okay.
Like it's creamy on the PB&J, but if I'm going to celery, for some reason I want the chunky with the crunchy with the chunky. If that makes
I
any
think
sense.
with a sandwich, I appreciate the texture of the crunch a little more. You know.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Actually, it is one of those things where I only really buy creamy, but if I'm gonna make cookies or if I want to make cookies, I'm gonna get the chunky out. Okay.
Fair enough.
Let's see here. We're Oreos or Chips Ahoy?
Oreos.
The regular kind of Oreos, or to do the double stuff?
No, regular. Double stuffed is too much.
It's
regular.
Too much, right?
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
What about the flavored ones? Do you like any of the flavored ones?
I think I've tried like the cookies and cream ones or something, and I just gotta go traditional on that one.
Traditional. I get you. I get you. And so, are you wondering what kind of interview is this so far? Okay. If you could pick a spirit animal of your choice, and it could be a mythical creature of some kind, what would it be and why?
Probably shark.
That's a unique answer. I've never gotten that one. I need to
Really?
know why.
I'm
No,
surprised at
I've
that.
never gotten that one. Tell me why. Shark.
I like sharks. I don't know. Sharks
You
are
know,
cool.
it
I
kind of
love the
reminds. Oh,
like the
sorry.
image of a shark. Like
Any particular kind of shark?
no.
Well, he's all nope. Well, you know what it makes me think of is what you were saying earlier about liking to stay busy, and sharks have to always be moving. They can't. They have to move to breathe. Or I think it's part of their way they're made.
Right. That's a good point.
I think there's some, whether you recognize that or not, that might be one of the things that sharks appeal to you for.
And they have a week, and it's one of the most popular things out of the whole year. So,
Oh yeah, Shark Week and the the videos and the TV show when they show
absolutely.
when sharks attack.
We were actually last summer. I was with the family in Cape Cod, where Jaws obviously was filmed during Shark Week. That was pretty cool.
Oh my God. Okay.
And we went to the Shark Museum, but it was closed because of COVID stuff. But yeah.
This is my friend RJ is watching. He said somebody got a package tonight. I think I need to go check the mail. Actually, I haven't got it out of the mail, but I will. RJ, thanks for stopping in. So the next question. Okay, you're going to the movies. What do you have to have as your go-to treat for your movie theater experience?
Randomly when I was younger, I would always get snow caps.
Oh, I love snow caps.
But it's been a very long time. I just go with the popcorn usually. I'm usually with like all the kids, and they've got all this candy and nachos and things flying all over the place. So I just stick with a small popcorn and keep it simple.
With butter?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Okay, now, no matter who's asking, what's the one movie you're going to say to someone that they should not miss? They need to watch it.
Like all time?
Of all time. The one movie, like this is the movie everyone needs to watch. Is there one?
Everyone, no matter who you are?
No matter who they are, you're like, if you get hit by a bus tomorrow, make sure you've seen this movie.
Sleepers.
Oh, great choice. That's the one with Brad Pitt and the kids that were in the
Yes.
juvenile hall or oh yeah, that's a good
Brad
one.
Pitt, Dustin Hoffman.
Yes,
there's a ton of stars in that movie,
what's his name? Matt Damon is in it, I think.
Yeah. No, I don't. Is Matt Damon? I don't think Matt Damon's in it.
Matt Dillon. I think Matt Dillon.
And I'm forgetting some. Jason Patrick. He's the main character.
Yes, Jason Patrick. Oh my God,
that's a phenomenal movie.
I didn't forget. I think I actually own that one. I'm pretty sure that's in my movie case. Okay, and as a musician, because we're going to transfer into some musician-related questions, musicals. Do you like musicals? And if you do, what's your favorite? Hello, Niobe.
Can't say I'm a big fan of musicals. No.
None. Not a single one. I think
I'm trying to think of the ones I've seen in the theater, like on Broadway. I've seen a few. And they're always impressive to see, especially the Christmas one. What musical did you
see on Broadway?
I've seen like the Christmas Spectacular. I've seen Nightmare, or I'm sorry, not Nightmare Before Christmas. So what is it? The one with Ebenezer Scrooge. What is the actual title of that?
Christmas Carol. A Christmas
Carol. Yeah, I've seen that. That was really good.
Yeah, I saw that actually myself too, and I got to see it in the Ford Theater, the theater where Lincoln was shot.
Oh wow,
that was a trip. Nice. That was we were sitting in a balcony seating type of thing right across from the booth thing on the upper level where Lincoln was sitting. They don't seat anybody over there. It's all like roped off. Oh yeah, it's crazy. My friend Niobe Comics is here. He said word. I think that was when we were talking about sleepers. Okay, so no musicals other than the Broadway musicals. And it's funny. Most musicians say no, but they know at least maybe one movie that they're okay with watching as a musical. It's just curious. It's just one of those curious questions I like to ask musicians. It's like, do you like musicals? Okay, so now we're going to switch into 5 rapid words. These are words that were totally Kenny Duece Bug related. They didn't. They may have been in someone else's list, but when I thought of you and I thought of the 5 words for you, these are what came up. I'm going to throw the word up and you just say what first comes to mind, or go with what it inspires from you, what it incites from you, and you just give me a response.
Cool.
First word is community.
Music.
Music. I would agree with that, right? It brings people together.
For sure.
Yeah. And you do a lot of that.
And I'm from Bridgeport, and Bridgeport's initials are BPT, which always we said bringing people together, which as you said.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes.
See, I didn't know that. Like, I knew where you were from, and I know what you do with Full Blast booking and Full Blast movement, and so community, of course, came to mind for me. And I love that. That's rad. See where it went? I didn't expect that.
Since the inception of Full Blast, throughout the changes, throughout the evolution, it's always 100% been about community.
Nice. Isn't that so important? That's one of the things I love about what you do and admire about you. And I'm so glad we were able to get you, get a time for us to sit down together, because I'm not at that level to bring people together, but it's part of why I do this show. Talent.
Instruments. That's what comes to mind.
Okay. Do you feel like a musician with knowing how to play instruments is a different kind of talent than someone who just sings? Maybe?
No, I think that a voice can be considered an instrument.
Good point. As a spoken word poetry performer, I approve that message.
I think that some of the most impressive things I've ever seen people do involve playing instruments. To me personally, but
yeah. Were you a fan of Prince?
Yeah, still am.
Still am. And other than Prince, who else is out there that has knows how to play a ton of musical instruments? That's someone you admire.
One of my best friends, Dan.
Okay.
And maybe we'll get into this as I get into the whole thing about my music. But Dan has played guitar, bass, trumpet. He's played bass and trumpet at the same time on stage with me, playing our music, and he raps and can sing as well. Pleasure to know the guy, pleasure to work with him. It's impressive every time he does his thing.
That's awesome.
As far as like popular or famous musicians,
you don't have to give me one. I love that answer, man. I'm all about you.
Cool.
I'm all about living, breathing indies. No offense to you, Prince, wherever you are. I believe Prince and Van are up there creating music together.
But Prince is okay with it. It's totally cool.
He totally would be like, yeah, he's like, check on that. Okay, now this is more of a phrase: grit and hustle.
Grit and hustle. The first word that comes to my mind.
Or what does that inspire? I know you know a lot about grit and hustle. I can tell you that. I don't know you that well, but I definitely know.
Just the word grind is what comes to my mind.
Grind. Right. Like, bring them together, man.
Yep.
Always on it, man. And you said this earlier, talked about this earlier, not sitting still or always being busy or always having something, to work on and to do. And I know you do that for yourself as well as others.
Yes.
Which is so admirable. And speaking of that, lift up.
Lift up. The first thing that came to my mind is 420.
Oh, okay. All right. 420 friendly. All right. I got you. I thought of this for you because I remember way back when I first messaged you and invited you on to Spotlights, your response was to give me the name of another artist to be on the show. And I don't know. I'm almost speechless to that. Like, that's just who, right away, I'm like, oh, well, I gotta know this guy. Gotta know this guy. I gotta be friends with this guy. This guy, I messaged him about him coming on as a guest, and he's giving me another artist. You lifted up another person, right?
I mean, yeah, and the whole entire roster that's down with Full Blast would also be excellent guests in addition to Ross, who I mentioned to you when we spoke. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
I yeah, I
exactly.
mean we accomplish everything together as a team. Sometimes it's about going through the motions and finding the right team because everybody's
Right.
got the right team out there. But once you find it,
Mm-hmm.
why wouldn't you want to put each other on? You know, and
Yeah.
that's the whole point of what I do. What I do is because I love giving people opportunities. I love, uh, just watching an event unfold and seeing people enjoying themselves is one of the best feelings in the world.
I just love that. Okay, so this last one's a little, I don't know, maybe because you call it, maybe because you're deuce bug. I've said insect.
Mantis.
Ooh, the praying mantis. Okay, is that so? Deuce bug. Let's talk about deuce bug. Why deuce bug is the title? Where did that come from? Did it come from? Where did that come
uh,
from?
it's
What's
just
that about?
it's a stupid funny story.
Okay.
Um, I was my original rap name was Carnivorous because my name is Kenny, and it's like carnivorous, but with Kenny,
Mhm.
it's kind of corny. When I was like a teenager, that's what I was going with, and people couldn't pronounce it. They would see it written down, and they wouldn't even know how to say it. So I figured I
They're like,
needed
what
to
the
change my
hell is
name.
this?
Um, and this was right around the time that the movie Deuce Bigelow was out in theaters and popular,
Oh, okay. Okay.
and I was with my boy Chuck on Fremont in Bridgeport, and decided to box. We busted out the boxing gloves and we started boxing one day. And I
Fight
had on
Club.
a Derek
Fight
Jeter
Club on the
jersey.
streets.
I had the Jeter jersey with number 2 on the back.
Mm.
So I was boxing this dude and bugging out, and that's what they were saying. Like they instead of
Um,
saying Deuce Bigelow, they were calling me Deuce Bug a lot. Well, the Deuce was because of the 2 on my back, and I guess I was bugging out and
isn't that amazing? You know,
silly
that's
name.
it isn't a silly name. I think it's fantastic personally because my stand-up comedy stage persona name is the Amazon Beauty. And I got that name in a very similar fashion. I had a guy on the junior high uh, school ground inappropriately grab something of mine on my body, and I sent him to the emergency room.
Okay.
He
Well,
had he
that's
had
one
a
way to handle it.
yeah. I don't even want to tell you. You don't need. You're a man. You've got you. Yeah. He had to go to the ER, and then yeah, they
Well,
had
he
to,
learned. He learned
he
the
learned.
hard way.
But it was my one of my guy friends called me the Amazon Beauty after that because I'm not visually the girl that you would expect that can take you down, and that is a big huge mistake. Now I am 5'10", so eventually people figured out she might look innocent, but she's a tall chick. Leave her alone. Okay. Now I know whether or not you write your songs, I know that you are a musician, and you'll tell me what's the first thing that you do when you start or begin a new song. Do you write all your own lyrics?
Yeah. My
Okay.
last album is a mix between hip hop, uh, produced tracks, and live band punk
Mm,
rock, indie rock songs. And those songs, I wrote everything. I wrote the guitar parts, the bass parts, the drums, the melodies, the lyrics, even the trumpet parts. I didn't play them. I can't play all those instruments, but I wrote all of that.
nice.
Um, so yes, I write all my own music. I always have.
Okay.
I've written music for as a band member and as a hip hop artist as well.
Okay.
Um, so
So you're gonna do a new song. What's that first thing that comes to mind for
it
you? Is
really depends. Am I doing a rap song? Am I writing lyrics? Am I um putting a whole
where's your
song together for a band? Is it
yeah.
is it hardcore? Is it punk? Is it indie? I literally do all these things, so it's very hard to tell you. But when it comes to a hip hop song,
Okay.
um, I'm one of those artists that has lyrical ideas going before I even hear the beat. A lot
Okay.
of people need the beat first and they write to the beat. Um, I kind of hone it to the beat, but all of those ideas are already cooking, and
The
oftentimes I
words,
write
the
to
words
no
are,
beat.
you mean
What's that?
the words, the lyrics?
What
Can
about them?
is that what you're hearing in your head, or is it music? A
Yes.
melody. So it's
Yeah.
words.
Well, I'm a drummer, so I can like tap, so I always hear a rhythm while I'm
Okay.
kind of coming up with lyrics, but I don't sit there and write to a beat. I've hardly ever done that, and I know
Nice.
that's pretty much the standard procedure. But
Yeah, that's
no,
usually the answer I get. I usually
yeah,
get a lot of people have the beat first. But I think there, you and I think Sally actually, who was on last Sunday, was also someone who often would have the lyrics first, or she would have written something first, and then she'll shift it or change it when the time came for the music. But that's cool. That makes perfect sense to me. I, as a poet who deals in lyrics more than anything, I totally appreciate that. Is there, so clearly the cross of genres is vast with you, but when you go to listen to music, when you need to listen to music just for recreation, what is that you're going to listen to?
um, I have a hardcore playlist. I have a punk
There you
playlist. I have an indie rock playlist. I have an old school
go.
rock playlist. I have an old school hip hop playlist. I have a regular hip hop playlist, and I literally listen to them all at pretty much the same.
Right? I am the same way, and it doesn't shock me that that's your answer, considering the myriad of all the different genres that that you're talented in, as well as the talents of the people that you have in your community. So that's yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I have my little routines. Like the kids get in the car, I put on the punk or the reggae playlists,
Okay.
because the
Okay.
language and the hip hop ones, and no one in my family likes hardcore, and they don't want to hear that. So I tend to just listen to hardcore and hip hop when I'm vibing by myself.
When you're doing
Um,
your thing by yourself.
yeah.
Do you feel like you'd listen to that more if you didn't have to, if they liked it as much as you, would you listen to hardcore rock more?
I don't know. I I
I was
listen
just
to music a
curious.
lot, so I get my fill. I'm not,
So
who knows?
who, oh sorry.
No,
who
it's all good.
who is the singer that most influenced you?
Zach De La Roca.
Okay, I don't know that name.
That's
Explain.
the front man for Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, okay. I know the band.
Yeah.
I don't know all the names and all this stuff, but okay, so any particular reason just other than
They've always been my favorite band and probably my biggest influence as a musician.
okay.
And as a vocalist in hip hop, that's the only comparison that
Mm,
anyone's ever said to somebody that I sound like that I feel is kind of true. Like I can see it, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Um and yeah, that's like the only artist that I can think of that have kind of have a similar vibe to. Um,
Nice.
we don't
Okay.
talk about the same kind of things or in the same way, but I'm just talking about like the sound of the voice.
Right. Are there any particular words that you won't put in your lyrics? You avoid them completely.
Of course, the N word
Okay.
that does not belong in any white person, especially white rappers' vocabulary.
Okay.
Um, Other than that, no, probably not. I think it's all fair game. I love to explore words, and one
Mm-hmm.
of the biggest or the best things that comes from writing lyrics for me is I learn a lot because I'm constantly looking things up that I'm talking about to make sure
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually like saying something that makes sense or is real, and I've learned so much just by writing rhymes because I never knew that. I never knew that
Like, what
word,
does this mean?
and
Yeah.
yeah. So I've always had a pretty extensive vocabulary, and there's like a ton of words in my head that I might not even know what they mean, but I know it's a word.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
I had uh, spoken word poetry guru type that I followed, and he talked about the thesaurus can be your best friend in poetry, because like there's only so many times you can say the word passion, you know, and like it's like and it was like one of the best tips I ever heard during watching one of his appearances, because now when I write a poem or I'm going back through the editing process, I'll do a word count on certain words that I use a lot, and I feel like the word's fine and it's appropriate, but I'm like, there's got to be a better word for this. Okay, so going along with that, is there a taboo topic or something that you just don't use? You're not going to go there in your creative works?
Yeah, I think over the last 10 years or so, I've tried to stay away from straight politics in music. I think that there was a time when I first came up where I was writing songs about these topics and I was touching on issues that are, whether, socio-political issues or conspiracy theories or,
Mm,
whatever involving the government or whatever.
right,
And I think what I've kind of come to realize is that at the end of the day, nobody knows anything about anything when it comes to this stuff. And there's a lot of people that pretend like they know everything. And
right,
it turns into just being rude to one another. And at the end of the day, you're kind of playing yourself because you're getting all worked up over something that you really don't even know. You know what I mean? So, like, I
yeah,
decided to kind of take the high road when it comes to, like, I'll still have you know, a nice conversation with someone whom I respect in real life. But as far as writing songs about that, and if you want to hear me, rap about that kind of stuff, there's plenty of songs out there that I've done over the years that you can hear. I haven't deleted them or anything, but I just don't go in that direction anymore because honestly, I really don't want to be playing myself because at the end of the day, we could all be wrong about all the things that we think about. It's nobody really knows what's going on behind the curtain. Even though
yeah.
you might have a great idea, you might really think you do. At the end of the day, you don't. Nobody does. So
Well, and it's I just don't like spending energy on anything that is pointless.
yeah, or really negative at all. Especially on social media and stuff. I've found like if it's not positive, just leave it alone because there's really no point.
I don't know what RATM means, but that is CPG, otherwise known as Christopher Gaudet. He was one of my spotlights recently. He is also a musician. Do you know what RATM means?
Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, duh. Can you see? That's one of the reasons why I'm not going to get into politics and all the other jazz, Kenny, because I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Favorite live performer ever?
And
Is it Van?
that's a tough question.
Oh, what did you say? Oh, you didn't
That's a,
answer.
that's a
Oh,
tough question.
it's a tough question. He's like, ooh, do I answer someone I know who's going to get mad if I don't say their name? Or do I
No, I'm
play
not
it
worried about
safe? Do I say Duece Bug?
that. Man, my favorite live performer, it's hard not to say HR from Bad Brains.
Mm.
He was the best live. But in the world of hip hop, I feel like Method Man and Redman put on a phenomenal show.
Okay.
They're up there. Some bands that I've seen that put on a great show, I think Converge stands out in my head as one of the best bands I've seen live.
Okay. What
Yeah, I mean,
makes
I could probably
what
just
makes
start
them stand
rattling off
out?
bands, but yeah, those are
No,
probably
it's
the
okay.
tops.
For you, in addition to being a musician and with the talents you have, as well as a promoter and you putting shows and tours together, what makes a live performer stand out for you?
That's a great question. Um, there's a lot of variables and little factors that go into it, but um, one of the first things that comes to my mind, especially as a hip hop artist, and it's something that's come up a lot of late, is proper breath control and not having to use backing vocal tracks on your songs and being
Okay.
able to handle it all from your chest. When I see that, because nowadays you even have industry artists that are rapping over the
Oh yeah.
lyric live.
I see it.
It's
I
crazy.
mean, I was. That's a good point. I wouldn't have even. I mean, I kind of get it. Like, I totally get it. Like, I would think that the other thing that comes to mind for me, and I've been doing this, um, in hopes of eventually going and participating in spoken word performing at poetry reading type places, venues that where you can do that, slam poetry, that kind of thing. And I've been practicing the poems because I want to know that I can do one without having to read it. Now one of my big huge guru poet guys that does spoken word performing, he has paper in front of him, like he's reading off a paper. So trust me, I'll use a piece of paper if I have to, but I would like to get to that point where I don't have to follow along.
Yeah, because eye contact is a big thing too that I notice a lot.
Yeah.
Um, and it's honestly, as a performer, I get a little weirded out just like looking at everybody in the crowd too. It's weird, like, but it's important to do that because otherwise you're kind of like isolating yourself and you're not like opening up to your audience, and
Right.
um they're looking at you. And when you look at someone, it's your natural direction that you're looking at is their face, and their eyes. And you've got all these people looking at you when you're on stage. You want to be able to do the same. I've seen one of the worst live performances I've ever seen. Actually, probably the worst was Smash Mouth at this festival type show in Connecticut, and the dude had his back to the audience the whole time, like the whole time.
Oh, wow.
Never even looked at the audience, and I just
Yeah.
thought that was so lame and like not cool.
Yeah. I had I don't go to anywhere near as many shows as other people. It wasn't really my thing, but I have been trying, and I went to a couple this year, and it reminded me of one time I went to Humphreys and I saw Olivia Newton-John live. And I was like, I complained. I didn't want to go. I only said yes because my friend asked me. I don't dislike her. I like her, but I didn't think she was all that talented.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But Kenny, I saw her live. There is not, whatever they did in studios, whatever they ever did for any Olivia Newton-John album or song I ever heard on the radio, doesn't even come close to the talent that woman has as a singer. I was stunned. I was stunned at how good she is. I was blown away at how good she is. She was way better live than she ever was on any album created out of any studio, in my humble opinion. Okay, so this last part is of this. This is a quote from a song, a grunge hip hop rap song of Band Beats. It says, "Fuck being average. I'm a goddamn savage." So, along with that quote, in conjunction with that quote, the question I have for you is, what is that one thing that you do the most, or strive to do the most, that will set you apart from the average Joe and keep you on the not so average place? What is that you do?
It's got to be what I do live, and that's playing the drums and rapping simultaneously.
That's badass. Oh my god! And now I went through some of your. Is there videos on your YouTube of that?
Yeah, Give
Okay,
the drummer some video is where I actually rap, play drums, and scratch a turntable all at the same time.
I like, because I played your album off a couple of times over the course of the last probably right around the time I first met you, and then again in preparation for today, I put on Bandcamp actually. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and check that out. That's badass. Okay, so Chris says, do you think it's more productive and satisfying writing to join the masses instead of dividing? I do, even playing hardcore music. That's a question for you.
Well, I don't ever think it's a good idea to divide anybody, especially the masses. I'm not sure if maybe I'm not understanding the question really, but I will go with, yeah, it's always more satisfying doing anything that joins the masses rather than dividing them, for sure.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to add a reel of images to the stream. This is you with your drumsticks, I'm assuming.
Yep.
So it's ironic. This was literally what we were going to have coming next, and you just talked about what sets you apart, and you just talked about that. Do you want to elaborate on it anymore before I go to the next image? Where did that come
No,
from?
listen, if you want to see, come to a show, and you'll
I'm
see
gonna
it.
have to. Of course, I'm gonna have
And
to.
I don't just mean you. I mean like anyone listening.
I mean,
That's the
oh,
greatest thing about when I tour, is I'm going out every night doing something in front of people that most of them have never seen done before.
what?
It's not very common to have a drumming rapper on stage,
That's
and
awesome.
it's
What's the
cool. It's
idea? Where did it come from? Sorry, I interrupted you, but
no worries.
I want to know. I'm like, what happened? How did that start?
I started playing the drums when I was like maybe 11 years old.
Okay.
And I was in some different kinds of bands throughout like middle school and high school. But I always had the the skills to play the drums. I went for many years without playing them
Mm.
when I started doing the hip hop thing. And after actually being on the Warp Tour for the first year, I was kind of a little more confident that I could bring my punk roots, my, live instrumentation into my hip hop set. And it's what inspired me to do it. And like, I had no idea what I was doing at first. I was like, let me just buy a beater
Yeah.
drum set and just mess around with it and see what can be done and what songs of mine I can play along to the beats with it, and what I can do like freestyling in between. And I kind of honed out a little set, doing that. And it was always like super fun and just stood out being on what was usually a hip hop show with a bunch of
Mhm.
rappers.
Oh yeah.
It was a lot of fun to just kind of stand out that way and provide a organic beat with an instrument, rather than just a backing track. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And it's intriguing to me because this year was the first year I did my own album and did the music to it, and it's the first time I've taken the sound or the rhythm or the beat to mind when I'm doing the vocals on a track. And I literally looked up prices of just a little drum, the kind you hit with your hands. I don't even know what, not bongo necessarily, but just, is it bongo drums? Am I
Yeah.
saying that? Something like that? Or my mom was in a band and she had that timbal thing, the circle thing with
Tambourine.
the tambourine. I thought about that. I thought about adding some kind of a musical instrument to the spoken word,
You should.
because Morocco's, because to be honest, I really, there's a few of my poems that I don't think they need music. Shouldn't even have a music really. And there's some spoken word poetry people who are purists who don't believe that music belongs with spoken word, but I'm not that girl. I'm not that extreme. Okay, so I'm gonna hit if my mouse would work, I'm gonna hit play and get to the next. Sometimes it doesn't work for me to do this, and I don't know why it does this. I'm hitting play. Now it's lagging. Come on. I think this is the next image. Okay, Tour for Life. This is one of the things you do. This isn't the only thing you do, but this is one of the things you do, right? You do some work with Tour for Life.
Yes, yeah. Full Blast Booking is my company,
Right.
that I started. Full Blast was always like the name of the crew for the last 10, 15 years, whatever.
Okay.
And when there was around 2015 is when I decided to retire as a hip hop artist, and I wanted to focus on starting a booking company, because I always booked all my own shows, and that's something I really enjoyed. So I wanted to start booking for other people. I
Okay.
also had gotten a few jobs for some venues in Connecticut as their talent buyer and booking director, like
Okay.
Two Boots that I mentioned earlier.
Nice.
And so I was really enjoying booking shows. So I also booked all of my own tours when I was an indie artist doing, full time hip hop artist stuff. And I wanted to start booking tours, and that's what I started doing for the last 5 years. I've been kind of building my company,
Mm-hmm.
and in 2019, I partnered with Mental Health Connecticut, which is a local division to me of Mental Health America, which is a national mental health and suicide prevention kind of
Right.
nonprofit organization. And Mental Health Connecticut is phenomenal. They do a ton of great community work here in Connecticut. Um, they're incredibly resourceful and very supportive of the arts and music, and they incorporate all those things into their programming. And I was very impressed by them, and we had a few meetings, and I partnered with them because I wanted to present a charity tour where the proceeds would be donated to them.
Okay.
But more importantly, I wanted to set it up as a more than just a show where the proceeds are donated to charity. Like I wanted it to be a hands-on learning experience and create an environment that can really put in work to raise awareness on these issues and
Nice.
end the stigma on mental health in general, especially in the genre of hip hop music,
Right.
and also preventing suicide. Um, and So I started putting this thing together and raising money for it, and it went way better than I thought. And I raised like all this money to put this tour together, and then COVID happened. So
Mm.
I had to
Oh,
postpone the tour twice,
I hit the wrong
but
button.
it finally was able to happen this the last weekend in August, so just about a month ago or so. And it was phenomenal. It was like the coolest thing I've ever done. The greatest thing I've ever really accomplished was creating this environment every day and this traveling group of people that did all the dates, and we had great local support as well, but everyone was on the same page as far as the cause. And I've never been in a more supportive environment ever, and it was
And this
great.
is how much you've raised since that was
Yeah,
started.
and
Okay.
after the 4 shows, with most of the proceeds going directly to charity, we were able to raise over $11,000.
Wow. So this, I skip. Okay. April 15th. This was one of those tours for life. This event on April 15th.
No, that was a fundraiser for it. Yeah, so I like what I do all year round is fundraising for Tour for
Yeah.
Life, and then in August we have the major Tour for Life dates. And the difference
Oh,
is Tour for Life has major headliners. So we had booked for 2021 Tour for Life was Brother Ali, Ritz, Capadonna, Rakim. Rakim couldn't make it because of a COVID related
mm,
situation, but but yeah, and then we had a ton of really good co-headliners and indie support. But I
and
did that show was, as you know, my introduction to Black Hesher,
it
and
was his last performance.
it was his last performance ever. And I don't know if honored is is the right word to say, but it means a lot to me that it was, but it's also really tragic because I had just met the guy and we really hit it off pretty well, and he we had a lot of long conversations, and
Hmm.
we spoke on the phone even, and he really was into the whole Tour for Life thing, and he was planning on being on Tour for Life,
Hmm.
and he was bothering me that he wanted to start a punk band with me. And
That
really,
sounds like Van.
yeah, it's not too often that I meet, you know, artists and become, good friends like that. You know what I mean? Most I have my guard up with most people, but with him it was like, you
And
know,
I for some reason I thought maybe you guys had known each other before or longer, because Van, this was not the only occurrence I'm aware of that he performed for mental health or for a recovery or for an organization charitable in some way. He was just that guy. He was just that guy. And yeah, the only thing I can say is that, and you're already doing it. I know you're going to continue to do it, but having had that experience, did it give you an affirmation in a way for what you do in the movement and doing the full blast tour for life and all that stuff that you do? Did it kind of not validate it, but give you that? Does it re-inspire you to think about that like that?
Um, yeah,
You know
it
what I'm
does.
getting at? What I'm trying to say?
No, yeah, I think I totally do. And it's hard to, like I said before, to use the word honored. Like, I don't want to mince words or use the wrong word, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
the heavy things like that have been happening along the way of this journey.
Mm,
And
yeah.
the only thing I could say is, everything does happen for a reason, even when it hurts really bad. And I was putting all these fundraisers together, and a couple of the cult music dudes reached out to me to get on them. And that was the first I had worked with any of them. It was like Ty Hunt and the Astro and a
Right.
few others that had just randomly hit me up because I was one of the only dudes putting on shows during that time. It was COVID. It was in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
And
And those are all names that I've spotlighted Ty and Scott and
yep,
and Devin,
yep.
Diastro, and
And they, they're the
it,
ones who introduced me to Van.
yeah,
And yeah, it was a great, that was, of all the fundraiser shows that I did every month leading up to Tour for Life, that was
right,
the best one. It was a sellout. We sold it out. We raised the most money on that show as any other fundraiser that I did.
yeah,
And
it's
the
awesome.
level of talent on the stage was incredible. And I remember this dude being like, you're in San Diego. You're gonna fly from San Diego to New Hampshire
Uh-huh.
to do one show, bro? Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know. And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
all right, cool, let's go, let's do it.
And I just looked at the time. We're running. No shock. I should just start telling people my show's an hour and a half, or an hour and 15. So, real quick, it doesn't mean much maybe to you, but April 15th was the first day that Van and I spoke to each other again after having had a falling out.
Oh,
That day, that actual day before he performed. And I got to have my friend back in my life for the 8 days after this event. So this event stood out to me. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it up and hear your thoughts on it, because that day marked the day that I got my friend back
wow.
before he went home, of course, but God
Well,
bless him.
that's one of those things that I just mentioned that is one of those heavy things that's just kind of been happening along this path. And doesn't surprise me. And I'm again, not to mince words or use the wrong word, but I am glad to be the one to facilitate that for you, and at least you were
Yeah.
able to mend that bridge.
Well, it's funny because why I wanted to share it with you is that the whole reason I was behooved to put my ego aside and message him that day was because he was on the other coast. And I have this weird inner thing about travel and people being far away, and when they're, being safe travels, people say safe travels. And it's just the idea of like, okay, I need to just put my bullshit aside. And it was luckily one of those days he was in the same mindset and he was willing to put whatever was aside as well. And there you go. So this next image, the last image on the reel, is about this is an upcoming show. Is this the performer that was unable to do one of the shows because of COVID?
No, this is something
That's someone
completely
else.
separate. Rod Digga is, in my opinion, the best female MC of all time, and many other people share that opinion. She's a legend in the world of hip hop, and she's it's a pleasure to have her. It's almost like hip hop royalty, and I booked a lot of tours for underground hip hop artists that are dope and legendary in their own right. Like I've booked tours for Pace One, and I've booked tour for Fred the Godson, R.I.P. I've booked tours for dates for Snow Goons and Bizarre, D12, Capadonna from Wu-Tang, and
Uh-huh.
Ren Thomas, and I guess I could keep naming names, but Rodriguez is
But
one of
considering the shows that you've probably put on, man. So, and is this the next show you've got coming up, or is there anything else out there? Like, now's the time to, like, for those watching or who may watch later, what else other than this? Because this is a whole weekend of shows at 3 different venues I saw.
it's 4 actually. Yeah, it's
Oh, wow, 4. Okay.
New Hampshire, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Jersey.
Okay.
It's a
Right.
Thursday through Sunday run, and the Connecticut show is November 5th at the Cellar on Treadwell, and I am performing on that one.
Woo!
Um,
And for those of you watching, at the bottom of the screen is the Linktree link information for finding that. All of those shows that he just mentioned that we're talking about are on your Linktree, so that's how I found them. That's how is that the best way to find you and find what's happening with you? And
yeah, yep. Instagram, Full Blast Booking, and Duecebug 203. Those are my accounts. And I'm on Facebook as well.
okay.
But I'm working on getting a web page done for Full Blast. That's my next goal. But as of right now, the best way to follow or reach me is on Instagram or Facebook.
Okay. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but did you have something you wanted to sing for us or prep? I know I told you, I gave you a heads up, but it's totally optional. You can totally say pass.
Yeah, no, I got the email, and I know you were like refrain from performing over anything that could have a copyright thing because it silences it or something.
I know
So.
I got myself copyright dinged by playing my own spoken word poem. I got muted by Facebook. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I love it when that happens. No,
Well,
I'm
you know, it
I would
funny.
love to, but I am going to pass just simply also because I just literally walked in the house before this interview,
Oh
and
yeah.
I've got things I've got to do around the crib, and
No
but
explanation
yeah,
needed at
next
all.
time for sure.
None needed at all. And for those of you that are watching or anyone who watches later, again, he can be his music, Deuce Bug's music, can be found either on Apple, I would imagine Spotify or any other music
Yep,
platforms. Right? There's
yep. It's
2
on all
albums.
digital platforms. If you'd like to purchase them, please do so on Bandcamp. If you'd like to stream them, they're available on Spotify,
Yes.
Apple Music, YouTube, the whole 9, all my albums. And Melting Pot is my latest album, and I've got 2 videos that I've released for it so far.
Nice.
The Meaning of Life, which just came out, which is a ska punk song, and Dumbing Down the Nation, which is a grimy underground hip hop boom bap rap song. So
nice.
and I've got more to come too. I'm going to be releasing more singles and doing more videos. But that's out. My old album Mantis is out, and I've got a whole YouTube playlist of all my music videos. I've got like 10 music videos throughout the year. So check me out.
Excellent. Yeah, and I totally agree with the buy if you're gonna buy on Bandcamp. Van was the one who taught me that.
Yeah, if you're gonna buy it.
If you're gonna buy, if you're not a subscriber, like an Apple subscriber or something like that, and you want to buy an album for digital download, go to Bandcamp, because Van's the one who, he was so sweet about it. I think I posted something about, I bought some album, probably Katie's or Jay Andrews, who knows. And Van was so cute. He private messages me. He goes, "You need to stop buying your stuff through Apple." And he did. He explained it to me. I was so naive. I don't know. I'm like, what do I know?
Yeah, that's the problem, like we can't explain that to everybody, and people. It's a consumer right to get what you want, however it's presented to you. So it's not your fault. It's never the consumer's fault with that. It's just the industry trying to keep us down. It's one of the many frustrating things about selling music these days.
Oh, I bet. Well, and now that I know, you bet that's one of the first places I check. I will now. I actually am an artist on Bandcamp, and I can stream on there, that kind of thing. But so anyway,
yeah. At the end of the day, I would rather perform live for anybody than to have them listen to my music in their car. So if it's possible, come see me live. You won't regret it. But if that's not possible, yeah, all the music's online.
And what are the chances of you coming to San Diego?
The chances are great. I've been out there several times actually. I've
Yay.
got a lot of fam out there, and a West Coast tour is absolutely in the works.
Okay. I'm not saying I will never go to the East Coast, but now that at some point I probably just should, because between Scott and Ty and Devin and Jay, Zach, there's so many. There's so many that I've met from the East Coast because of Van that it probably would, yeah, it would make sense for me to go
Yeah,
to
for sure.
come to one of yours. All right, well, I'm gonna oh, let me do this. Okay, so I'm going to play the same intro video to exit us out of here, Kenny. While it's playing right at the end, I'm going to hit in broadcast. You're more than welcome to stick around and be here, but you're also welcome to go and do your thing. I know you had a busy day. I will not be upset if you're not in the green room studio when I'm done with the last part of the show. All I'm going to do next is exit us out of here.
Okay.
And
Well, thank you again for having me.
thank you so
And
much for coming on. I'm so honored that you were here with me today.
oh, thank you. And the pleasure's all mine. And hopefully we can do it again sometime. When I'm promoting Tour for Life 2022, maybe I can come back and talk about it.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
CPG says, great job, Kenny. Great job, Dory. Thank you so much for tuning in. For those of you that are watching in our comments and chat, thank you so much for being here and a part of the audience today. And go have a good rest of your evening and day, Kenny.
You too. Peace.
Bye. Peace.